Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Force 5 Open Chat, the show where I use the excuse of having to open all of the stuff that I purchased during this long couple of years that has accumulated that I've not opened. I use it as an excuse to open that stuff and also have a wonderful conversation with wonderful friends and interesting
Wonderful,
folks.
wonderful conversation.
A fantastic conversation, and
I can promise everyone it's gonna be wonderful.
it's going to be fantastic. I can promise fantastic because it's you, my dear friend, wonderful, amazing. John Hodgman, welcome to Open Chat.
Thank you very much. Now, it's such a pleasure to see you in your mirror.
I
This is the
didn't want.
confirmation that I've long wanted that you are not a technical vampire.
Well, well, I'm glad I was able to finally provide. Although you don't know, this could be an advanced LCD screen. This could be trickery of some
It's true.
sort.
It could be an XR volume. That's for sure.
But no, this was me not wanting to invest in a second camera or learning how to do picture in picture, and instead I did this.
I admire it. I think that it shows real. What necessity is the mother of invention. Ingenuity is what I wanted to say. Looks
It's,
good.
well, thank you. It was better than my first attempt at doing this in the original episode, which was setting up an old iPhone with the reverse camera on, which was a
That's
ridiculous way to go about this.
no, it's actually a very functional way of going about it. I've done it myself. I have a camera. I have another camera angle that we can share later, but not until we get into it a little.
Oh,
bit.
no. I didn't do the smart way of what you're saying as far as add another video stream in. No, I
Oh,
just
okay.
had in frame a camera showing me a live picture of the reverse camera on the phone.
Circles within circles.
I was not
I'm sure I
thinking
don't understand.
things through very well.
You're doing a great job.
So
It's
yeah,
always a pleasure.
this was a lot of just sad panic comfort buying of a lot of Star Wars stuff over the past couple of years,
I don't blame you.
and eventually it had to be opened, and so I wanted to do it in not a slightly less sad way than just sitting watching TV or listening to audio I was editing while opening Star Wars toys.
People like watching people open things. It's a certain pleasure, and you're sharing it, and that's wonderful.
I am. I'm going to share it with you right
Okay.
now. I'm going to move this aside. I just want to bring this up real quick. This is the new Hallmark ornament. Have you seen this?
No, I don't get the Hallmark newsletter anymore.
This is how advanced Hallmark ornaments have gotten now. And it actually breathes.
Ew. Oh. Wait, does Salacious Crumb,
He does
when he
not move.
cackles, does he move? No, it's
No,
just,
sadly he does not. That was left entirely up to the imagination.
and that disgusting ooze that's coming out from under
Those are
Jabba's
supposed to be
belly.
rugs, but it does not play
Does
as
not
rugs.
look like rugs. No, it does not look like rugs.
They managed both colors to allow the imagination to go both directions, though, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they left nothing to the imagination, did they? What is that line in Huttese that Jabba is saying there? Do we know?
I think is that the line where he's saying that he's going to keep Chewbacca.
I don't know.
I
Can we?
have to go back.
There's got to be a live Huttese translator on the
If there's anyone right now in the comments that remembers exactly what lines, because he says 3 lines. He does 2 lines and a laugh.
Oh,
for the
look, there's
3
everyone in
options.
the comments. Oh, that's so nice. I'll join the chat. Hi, everyone.
We have
Connect my
lovely
YouTube
hellos.
account.
Hello to Christopher. Hello to Eric. Hello to Lama Chan. Yes, a breathing ornament. I'm not sure we needed a breathing ornament, but we got a breathing ornament. In fact, while we're waiting for John's camera to rejoin, there it is.
I'm sorry.
There we go.
I was trying to log into my own StreamYard account.
Yeah, we just got to laugh. That's the last of the 3 options.
Ken, here's what's gonna happen if you don't mind, and I apologize to everyone involved, including and first and foremost you, Ken Plume, my friend. I'm going to leave for a moment and log into my StreamYard account,
Okay.
and
You
that
do
will allow me to be in the chat.
you do that.
Thank you. I'll be back in just a sec.
Sure. Well, John will be back in just a second. Again, welcome to everyone who's watching. If you, again, are not familiar with Open Chat, I have a show, Force 5, that I've been doing for the past over a year now, which has had many wonderful guests, Bobby Moynihan and Hal Lublin and Paul Sim-Young Lee, just a ton of wonderful guests. Go check that out. That's where folks come on, share their 5 favorite Star Wars figures from their or collectibles from their collection. We have a talk about collecting and a whole wonderful conversation. This show is sort of a spin-off of that. This is the live open chat where you all can ask questions, join in. I have a conversation with a friend, a guest, as I open up Star Wars toys that I've accumulated, and sometimes they open up stuff as well that they have. Sometimes it's just a conversation. And you're very welcome, Mike. See, wishes fulfilled. You got exactly what you wanted. I know that's what you were wanting. I did that just for you. The channel's not yet monetized yet. Not yet monetized yet. It's not yet monetized. If you'd like to support me, there's a Patreon link below. There's a tip link. There's an Amazon wish list. Like and subscribe. All of those things. So I got that out of the way. So now I can bring John back in and not have all that boilerplate to worry about. Hello.
Hello, I'm back again.
Did it?
And now I'm writing, and now I am in the chat too. No one is safe from me.
Well, good. Well, now we're to an inception point.
Eric and Christopher. Oh, Llama. Hey, Llama. How are you doing in Reading? It's up. It's late nights in Reading, England, with Llama.
Oh, Reading. So that is after midnight.
After midnight in the ding, as we call it.
I'm gonna move Jabba aside. I think we've had enough fun with Jabba.
So where are you getting some kind of payback for featuring this Hallmark
No,
stuff?
not at all. No, it was a very expensive ornament, and I wasted a lot of money on it. But it was a I had to get it.
Did you hang it on
John.
Did you hang it on the tree?
I don't put up a tree anymore. It's sad. I have a lot of ornaments. I've winnowed it down to buying maybe 2 ornaments a year. One's a sentimental one. One is just if one sparks like that, where it's like that's just too weird not to pick up.
Maybe you shouldn't put up a tree. Maybe just create an ornament pile, like an ornament midden, in the corner of your living room or wherever you celebrate the holiday, if you do.
Maybe an ornament skyway. So like I attach them to like a conveyor belt that just rotates around the room at ceiling level so as not to take up too much space. That's not odd, right?
No, at this point, nothing is.
If I set the bar high enough that, or low enough that I can get away with anything.
I want to give a shout out to Mike in the chat, who is aware of an audiobook that I narrated called Year Zero. I see your reference, Mike. I see your obscure cultural reference, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
You've done a lot of wonderful things. I should say this is sort of our yearly bit of a chat as well.
We haven't done it for a bit, have we? Did we do it last holiday ornament pile time?
I remember. I think we did it just after the new year last year, and then so I think we're within. If we look at a year,
let's keep it on track from now.
We're gonna open stuff. We're gonna keep opening things,
okay.
Regardless.
How many
because
things do you open?
It depends on if I get stuck up on things or forget to open things. So this is from the 2002 line. 2002. Yeah. So this is Ifant Mon from Return of the Jedi. This is one of Jabba's court denizens. Also one of the largest figures you could get off the shelf for this was probably $8, maybe $7. Now, regular figure price.
Some of the Star Wars characters have names that mean nothing. Bib Fortuna Han Solo. It means nothing, no matter what certain later movies tried to, whatever meaning they tried to assign to it. Han Solo is just, they were just syllables. But Ifant Mon is obviously a play on Elephant Man.
I think that's where you get the names that came up in the workshop while they were building them. The nicknames that they gave characters, like Yak Face. That would have been because in the workshop they were joking around. It looks like a yak.
Yeah, but they weren't saying that Yak Face was like Huttese Yak Fache or something.
No, there was no
just called
deeper
Yak
lore
Face.
than to just the
Yeah.
gag.
But when they say Ifant Mon, clearly it's effant as an elephant and Mon. He's an elephant man. like that lyric from Das Racist. I'm not an
And
elephant
also-
man. I'm an elephant man.
And while they were producing Return of the Jedi, Elephant Man would have been recently in theaters. So it still would have been
Oh, good point.
in the public consciousness.
That's right. I hadn't thought about that.
Because Elephant Man was what, 81? 82? Does that sound
Elephant
right?
Man. Do you want me? I'll look it up while you're opening that thing. Boy, you're just destroying value as we speak. I didn't understand the gravity of what you were doing. Elephant
Oh,
Man.
yes. No, people are probably mad at me because this is not an easy... This is a rarer figure to get. But what's the point of just leaving them
Right.
sealed up? And what's the fun in having something if you're just going to look at it through the same package you look at it in a store?
Elephant Man came out in 1980. The movie came out in 1980. So, yeah, it's within the... Wow, look at that dude. That's a big hunk of plastic.
I mean, this is
Also,
probably a
Not
pound.
a, yeah. When you try to stand it up, you realize
Oh.
not a plausible life form. Yeah.
No. I mean, there's a lot of functionality of just basic comforts of life that you have to question about how he goes
Right.
about.
It looks
about everything.
more. Some of the aliens in Star Wars look more like costumes than like creatures. You know what I mean?
Yes, you can certainly see how this was. Like, you can see the human shape
Yeah.
that would have been in the costume there.
Yeah. That looks like five Ewoks wearing a wearing a trench coat trying to sneak into an amusement park.
I mean, it's also when you break down the Mystics and the Skeksis in Dark Crystal,
I wouldn't know anything about Dark Crystal.
which was made around the same period because that was an 81
1982.
release, 82. So they would have been making it around 81. But yeah, he's got a lot of detail. I mean, the paint job, considering this is a 20-year-old figure,
Oh, so this came out when?
2002. This is not.
That's 21 years ago. Holy elephant man. I don't care for that. Mike in the chat, our viewer, one of our 5 or 6 viewers, points out, today I learned Ifant Mon has a tail, which is true. You wouldn't know that from the movie. And one wonders if that's a detail that was added by the sculptor who created that figure just for funds.
Well, I know at a lot of the time they would have sort of trips to the Lucasfilm archives to take photos and do sketches of
Yeah.
the actual costumes. I'm sure that Ifant Mon, a lot of the elements of it, maybe the ones that weren't foam rubber, still existed, but at least photos would have existed. Like, let's see. You can
Yeah, how
see.
far up can you get into his? Can we see his butt or what?
Is that the new feed? Butt or what? Is the
Butt
new?
or what? Wow, it's quite a tail. It looks like he's wearing some leather underwear. That's nice. Okay,
And
and he's got like an elephant.
he's got a holster. He's got pouches around his leg.
Yeah, what were those little nunchucks or whatever? Those accessories that you pulled out.
So I think this attaches in here. Now, my understanding of the lore of this character is he's Jabba's head of security.
Okay. I'm not sure about that. I mean, maybe he's an overseer. He's like a pit boss.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
maybe he was a bit more spry in his younger days, and so it's strictly as you say, a managerial position at this point.
It says Ifant Mon was a Chevan male from the planet Vinzoth, who worked as a mercenary before he decided it was less dangerous to sell weapons as an arms dealer than to use them. He became head of security for the palace of his friend Jabba. Oh, I never knew Jabba's full name. Jabba de Silyajic Tiure, a Hutt crime lord. And he watched and laughed with Jabba's other courtiers when the Hutt captured Princess Leia Organa during her attempt to rescue the smuggler Han Solo.
An
He's a true
articulated
asshole.
jaw. So you can make your figure laugh, or you can make him sort of mime along with you as you're talking.
Hi,
And then it
I'm
just sort of
Font Man. Here, make his thing move. We'll do a little ventriloquism. Hang on. Hi, Ken. I'm Euphant Man. I'm not a plausible life form, yet for some reason, I got named head of security. Mostly a make-work job. My old friend Jabba put me in charge, and all of the Gamorrean guards hated me because the only security experience I had was holding this dumb stick. And I'm very top-heavy, and anyone who pats me on the back, I fall over. That's it. It was a good act.
we'll take it on the road. Well, that's the first figure, which kind of, as I'm
Yeah,
looking for the next
I
figure.
dare you to get him to stand on those stubby legs. He doesn't make any sense. He doesn't make any sense. His
the tail
physiognomy
is
makes no
what's-
sense.
The tail is holding things back.
The tail is supposed to be the thing that balances him, Ken.
You know what? Maybe the arm. No. Maybe this arm will be the balancing arm. Ta-da! First
Okay.
major accomplishment of the night.
That's not how. That's terrible.
What?
The way
Is
that doesn't work at all. I truly enjoy your magnifying glass, I have to say.
Well, the camera
Yeah.
doesn't do auto zoom, so it was, again, lo-fi.
No, I love it.
Easier to do it that way.
Not
I
only do I love the ingenuity of your setup, but I love the way it captures the sheer madness of your collection. That you have made yourself just one miniature among a bazillion miniatures on your work space.
I'm not going to
And
say
I have
there
to point
isn't.
out, I'm very much appreciating and I enjoy the Coraline figure to Leia Organa's her right, our left, the Vacation Land patch, and the Rocker Duck 3D printed totem that you have there, which you shared one with me, and it's really wonderful.
I did. Yours is unique, though. Mine just says Rocker Duck on it. Yours was personalized.
Oh, I didn't notice before I threw it away.
Well, I should have put a note in there.
No, I have it. I have it.
Well, you know what?
Also,
That's
a cool banana, says Christopher.
it's a good segue, honestly, for an apology that I feel I have to make publicly now.
No, I don't know where this is going, but I don't like it at all.
Well, you know, folks, if they don't already, should listen to Judge John Hodgman, a wonderful show that you've been doing for how many years now? 6,
Well,
7,
12.
7, 8? Is that 12?
Yeah.
Why?
It'll be-
What is time?
It was 2011, November, we started. And so this November it'll be 12. And we are going on tour to
When
celebrate
does the tour
that
start?
anniversary. Maybe the 13th anniversary? We will be start in September. We will be in Belfast, Northern Ireland, Dublin, the Republic of Ireland, Edinburgh, Scotland,
You doing French?
London. No, this will be in September.
Okay.
So post-French. London, England, and then Copenhagen, Denmark. And that's starting September the 10th through about September the 18th, I want to say.
So this
All
is
of those shows are already posted and for sale on the MaximumFun.org/events page. That's MaximumFun.org/events.
Is this the first time you ventured out beyond London with the show?
It is, and we've wanted to do it for a long time. And I don't know if there's going to be an audience at any of these other places, but we'll find out. Sorry, Llama, that we're not coming to Reading. That was an oversight that we'll repair in the future. And then announcing tomorrow, you're getting a scoop on this, Ken Plume. Announcing tomorrow, we will in let's see, October and November, we will be in Lexington, Kentucky, Chicago, Illinois, St. Paul, Minnesota, Austin, Texas, as well as Atlanta, Georgia, Durham, North Carolina. You know, at the Carolina Theater. You know where that is.
Well.
And then Charlottesville, Virginia, Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, then flying up to Portland, Maine, then driving down to Boston, Massachusetts, and then finishing with a big live streaming event and a live show in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
I think Durham was the next to last time I saw you in person. With the last time being the DC date that you did.
Yes.
And that No Such Thing as a Fish, our mutual friend Dan Schreiber, was in town.
We did a show in late 2019. Or, yes, it was late 2019, I feel, or early 2020.
Was it maybe the beginning of February, end of January?
It might have been in
2020?
Very early 2020. And we had quite a time. We did our John Hodgman show. You did a No Such Thing as a Fish show with those nice people. And then we all met at a Chicago-themed bar in Washington, D.C. and stayed up very late.
We did.
Was a good time. Then we didn't go and do anything for a long, long time.
The last thing I did was a whirlwind tour of DC with Dan as we went to Ford Theater and hit all of the major touristy sites that we could in a day and a walking tour. And then I stole a pencil from the Watergate.
Thus, always to podcasters.
Good time. So, as I was saying into the...
Well, hang on a second. I just want to point out, thank you, Llama. I'm glad to hear that you're coming to London for that show. I look forward to seeing you. I hope that you will come up, or anyone in any of these places will have a dispute for us to hear. I'm also getting a lot of texts here from Griffin Newman.
Well, just tell him to join the show if he's that insistent on communicating.
No, he's just answering a question for me. I have to respond to him. He's going off to Edinburgh tomorrow.
Because they are doing Fringe.
They are doing Fringe, and they're doing the George Lucas talk show, as well as a truly inspired, undescribable two-person play
the
starring
Junkman
Watto
and the Baron?
and George Lucas, the Junkman and the Baron. So, if any of you have access to anybody in Edinburgh, tell them to go see the George Lucas talk show and the junk dealer and the Baron.
Yeah, but Griffin is truly committing, as he always does, to Watto.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen any sign yet that Connor's doing Blueface for the Baron and really committing to Baron Papanoida within the show.
I don't know. I didn't know that Baron Papanoida wore Blueface.
He was blue in the movie. Yes.
Well, that's another name where I feel like they're talking about Baron, father of the nerds. That's what Papanoida means. It has to be. It has to be.
Yeah.
Baron Papanoida. All right, who do we have here, Ken?
So this is Masamita. This is Senator. No, this is the sort of the aide to the Chancellor that becomes Palpatine's right-hand guy.
Right. Yeah.
After this,
I don't like how I never liked how his leathery neck tentacles turned into little spikes.
Oh, down at the little pointy, which like obviously can't translate.
I don't care for that. That's a little gross to me.
And the figure that came out with Revenge of the Sith, this would have been Attack of the Clones era, has a detachable tongue accessory that you can swap into his mouth.
Why?
Fun for kids. Action feature.
Is that canon for this particular character? Did he ever...
I don't think you ever saw it in the film, but it was one of those, oh, he has this tongue that was maybe in a deleted scene. Let's put it on the figure. Look up the Revenge of the
Mas
Sith, the Mas Amida,
Amida.
and his action tongue.
Vice Chair of the Galactic Senate during Chancellor Valorum's term. A canny Shagrian politician with impeccable skills and a sweet replaceable tongue. That's from Wikipedia.
I'm going to get this apology in because there was
I don't want to.
every so many years there is a lovely shout out or reference to me that comes up in Judge John Hodgman. Sometimes it's when the other show that I work with, We Got This, are litigants on your show, and I am referenced on that. But there was a recent episode that dealt with house guests. Was the case before you?
Yes, and you're an incredibly considerate house guest.
Except in two glaring fashions. The one that was discussed, though, is a joke that went too far. And
it didn't go too far, though.
The apology was for, if I had thought it through a half second more, I would not have done it. But but there was a poster for a Turkish ET ripoff film from '83, I believe, as well. That
Body, B-A-D-I, or Baddie or Body, yeah.
That was owned by our mutual friend Jackson Public, Chris McCulloch, who was leaving Brooklyn at that time and was packing everything up and was going to throw away this poster. And as I was going, I said, no, why don't we do something with it? And then I don't know how it actually got to the point of, hey, why don't you see if you can hang it up in John's office? We arrived at this as like the perfect gag. And
it was terrific. The best part about it was, so Ken hung this poster in my office. And I think it took me 3 days.
There was nothing up there. I didn't take anything down.
I think it took me 3 days to even notice it. And if I knew that Jackson was a part of this, I had since forgotten it. I presume that this was just a Ken Plume.
No, that is where
Plume joint.
That is where the poster came from.
So I apologize to you for putting all of the blame on you for redecorating my home.
I was the one who physically did it and chose to execute it, so it is mostly on me.
It has stopped. It has become a very treasured part of my office. I like it very much. And I only, teasing is a delicate subject. Probably no one should ever do it, but I only mentioned that you did it in order to give credit to you for doing something fun. That's all. I apologize.
If I could call the transcript up.
No, thank you. Let's move forward, not backwards. Eric in the chat points out, I'm presuming the tongue.
The tongue, yes.
Was in a deleted scene when Padme addressed the Senate about the assassination attempt on her life. And when I search Mas Amida's page on Wikipedia, it says, in a gesture of authority, he would often punctuate calls for order with a flicker of his long, forked tongue.
As you do.
Whatever. I think this guy's got weird blue maggots hanging where his ears should be, with thorns coming off of it. Oh, speaking of Padme Amidala.
Now, this is a figure that is hard to get.
Now,
so people are going to be angry that I'm opening this. Yes.
Before you do, I don't want people to be angry. But before you do, where did you get it and why did you get it? I understand that you were kind of in a shop therapy mode, which is fine. Like, you needed to get some stuff that would make you feel good. But where do you get these things, and why this figure in particular? And why is it hard to find?
So it is a combination of eBay. There's a very wonderful comic shop that is in Wilmington that I discovered. Has been there for quite a while.
North Carolina, which
Wilmington,
is
North Carolina.
not far
Memory
from
Lane
where you
Comics
reside. Yeah.
Wonderful place that has a
Not
lot
to
of
not to
sort of
dox you, but
secondhand toys, collectibles, as well as comic books, uh, and it just got to a point where I have a sort of I definitely have a completionist part of me that kicks in when I start collecting a thing. Like I get into the hunt of trying to find the weird and interesting and harder to find stuff, but also characters that I like, figures that are just weird, because there's a lot of weird stuff that came. Like Ifant Mon is just a weird character. Like for me,
yes.
I like the notion that something like this was produced and put in stores on a shelf for a kid to buy for under $10. The same as
When
this
clearly
figure.
it was imagined at Lucasfilm as a dumb afterthought,
As
made of
we need
spare
to fill
parts.
we need
Yeah,
to fill this scene with
right,
as much weird stuff as we can and crank it
right.
out fast. You got ideas?
We got this
Make them.
extra foam rubber hanging around. What can you make it look like?
Yeah, and here's a gag wig. Here's a tarp.
Right.
What are you gonna make out of it? But now this is an action figure that
I
exists.
appreciate that.
So I like the novelty, or
Yeah.
this. You could have
Oh
the pilot
wow.
from Star Tours.
Yeah, that was the one that was voiced by Paul Rubens, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Who is now the DJ in the cantina at Galaxy's Edge in the theme parks.
If I were, I could not wait. I could not tolerate the wait to get into the cantina.
Yeah, he is. In fact, he's behind Alf, the DJ version of him. Let's see if I can get him out. Well, that's the perils of too much stuff. Okay, so there's the DJ version of him.
Oh, he doesn't look the same at all. He's also got a weird nose now.
Well, this little visor is down on this. It swings up to reveal the eyes, so he looks a little similar.
So
The
if you
paint
were in
job's
Star
different.
Tours back in the day,
You would have seen this is your pilot. It was now C3PO.
but would his visor have
pilot.
flipped up?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Which you can see in the photo. His visor's up.
Well, wait a minute. We were talking about Padme Amidala here, because I appreciate that Rex is an obscure character, but Padme Amidala is not an obscure character. And yet
So
you say that this is a hard to find figure.
this is
And
a harder
you
to
say
find
that you
figure.
like to get these things because you're a completionist, meaning you want all of them, or is there something about this figure or this character that you particularly enjoy?
It is there are a finite number of characters that were produced in these lines. It is attainable to get a complete collection of these things. You know what was produced. You know what characters are out there. You know what the checklist is. You could finish this line given time
And what line is
some effort.
this?
So this is the Power of the Jedi. This is the line that existed in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So this is
Okay.
the 2001 2000. This is 2000's toy line.
One year after
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace came out. Okay.
So Padme in this outfit, which is rather iconic to that film, was never
Yes.
released in that Phantom Menace line. So it didn't come out until this line
Until
the year
the
after.
power of the Jedi or whatever.
Right. So if people want this particular look, they would have to have gotten it a year later in this line, which was not produced in the same numbers that the Phantom Menace toys
Got it.
were.
So not to be crass,
Yes.
but like mint in wait before you do this before mint in box, which is what we're looking at right now
Right.
on the card. Ballpark value, not what you paid for it. Ballpark value right now.
I don't know, $20 to $30.
$20 to $30. What is it called again? Power of the Force?
This is Power of the Jedi, Queen Amidala Theed Invasion. Theed. That's the particular.
I forgot that the name of the city was Theed. All right, figure. I'm seeing here, looks like the exact same item being sold on a reputable dealer for $34. And once you open up this box, that $34 will become $0, correct?
No, it'll be a loose figure price, maybe $10.
Okay, let's
Just
do
for the
it.
figure, just for people who want the figure.
Sure. I'll tell you what.
She
While
does
you're
look a
doing
bit
that,
like
why
Tom
don't I get a
Servo.
$20 bill and just rip it up from the camera?
Well, you know what? That's your choice if you would like to do that at the same time. But
See
what
I have on hand.
is we have friends. Our mutual friend Hal Lublin collects classic Kenner Star Wars figures, but he collects
Those are
only
the
one
old
card.
school, old
The
school
old
ones.
Yes, the original 1978 to 85 run of Kenner figures.
I still have from that run, off the top of my head, I still have an obviously loose R2D2 and an original Greedo. And
So
then
now,
I also
where are
have
your figures?
they're in a basement in a New England state. They were given to children to play with, and I think I also had an original. Obviously, this is later, but it was a Kenner Bespin guard, a Bespin guard. They had that
Right,
little
the
jaunty
blue
little
outfit.
blue cap. Yeah. But I still got that Greedo. I saw that Greedo as recently as a week ago.
Now, is that just sitting in a box in the basement?
No. They're all out of the box. They were all played with, loved, enjoyed, and endured. And I think probably the thing that I most was surprised and happy to see again was the original Return of the Jedi Kenner run, Jabba the Hutt and his little throne slab from the Jabba the Hutt playset from that time.
With its flip top?
With his flip top. And its little molded bones inside the flip top. Look, that's a beautiful sculpture.
Yeah, I mean, the paint job on it is really good. The sculpting is really good. I mean, they were doing really good figures in this period.
They were. And,
the articulation is minimal, but if you're just having it sitting,
we don't need to see if she has a tail. Let's not need to pull up her robes.
But this is basically a traffic cone. I mean, there's no articulation to the legs at all.
Right.
You got arms and you got
arms
head.
can move. Can the arms move independently?
Yep.
No. Okay.
Yeah, but there's no elbows.
Yeah, but this captures. I mean, she had some dope.
Oh, and the hands rotate.
Oh, that's nice.
So now zombie Padme.
The George Lucas talk show has entered the chat. She had some dope costumes, Padme Amidala. Incredible costuming.
Oh, I mean, it was an action figure bonanza with the options you could have had to release.
I'm not even talking about the action figure bonanza. I'm just talking about the beauty of the costumes that she was wearing. And there wasn't a lot of costuming for female characters in the first three films other than let's put Princess Leia in a bikini or a commando outfit. An Endor commando outfit.
In the first film, she got two outfits.
Right. But, Amidala had some, throughout all of the movies, had some incredible costumes.
And in the film, these light up. They all had lights in each of those bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
I have a costuming book they put out. Inside Editions did this massive collector's book that had fabric swatches from all of the costumes. Or not all of the costumes, a lot of the costumes from the film.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of nerds would like to feel the hem of Amidala's robe.
Or the black rubber outfit that Palpatine was wearing in Revenge of the Sith at the opera.
You know what I call nerds who are pervs? Nerves. Just made that up. Still got it.
Just chatting about the Queen. Exactly.
Yeah. Hi, George Lucas Talk Show. We were talking about you.
Yeah.
We're going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival tomorrow, it sounds like.
They fly out tomorrow? The Fringe is about to happen.
Yeah, they fly out tomorrow.
So, apologies. I want to close out the apology, by the way, on the hanging of the poster.
I veto it. We already got there. We're done. I want to hear the facts of this thing. I want to move forward, Ken.
You want skills?
Yeah, well, give me some skills.
Yeah, leadership skills.
Yeah, for
Queen
sure.
Amidala is deeply committed to peaceful diplomatic negotiations.
Right.
Her training has developed strong negotiation skills. Another leadership skill, respectful. The young queen holds a deep respect for Naboo's traditions. Queen Amidala was raised by humble parents in a small mountain village. Her abilities to lead and inspire people were recognized at a young age, and she was given the best training to develop those abilities. At the age of 12, she started her political career by becoming Princess of Theed. Amidala was elected queen following the abdication of King Yaruna. Little did the people know that she would be face one of the largest crises in the history of Naboo.
Now,
So
the
she was elected
aristocracy.
princess before.
Yeah.
That's new to me.
The aristocracy of Naboo is an elected position.
Yes.
But I kind of feel like if she was elected princess at the age of 12, to me it kind of feels like how in Tibetan Buddhist tradition, lamas are, spiritual leaders are named in adolescence or pre-adolescence. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of feel like she got picked at an early age to be a leader.
She was put on a track.
She was put on a track. Right. My hair is doing a funny thing.
But then it's only a set term that she is queen. Because she's no longer
she stopped
queen
being
after
queen.
that.
She became senator.
She was then elected to be senator after being queen, and there's a new queen.
I don't think we know enough about Naboo political theory. I think I would like to know more about it.
And why did King Varuna abdicate? That's a big thing.
Oh, he wanted to marry his Nazi girlfriend, just like in Earth history.
They went off to live in France.
Yeah,
Switch with Handmaiden. Stall the invader. Oh, they got little scenes here. Allies and enemies. Oh, C.O. Bibble. C.O. Bibble is a big ally.
Oh, I remember that dude. Yeah, let's get as close up on him as we can get. That's really good, Ken. You're doing a great job. C.O. Bibble. They really fell down in the naming department around this
invasion.
He had some wavy hair. I remember C.O. Bibble. That's for sure.
And that really iconic beard. He had that little point.
Little beard ponytail, I believe.
The Palace Guards, the
Handmaidens, and Captain Panaka.
Oh, enemies, just Nemoidians.
Yeah, the
Destroyer droid.
What were the destroyer droids called?
The droidecas.
Droidecas, yeah.
The rollies, the roller droids. But yeah, so this is getting little information cards like this.
It's
is
been
also
a
just fun.
long time since I watched The Phantom Menace, and I may not have told this story for a little bit. So I'll tell it now. I was deeply into the internet in the 90s, following spoilers with regard to The Phantom Menace. And that was kind of the first time that the internet was tracking a film and releasing, this is like Ain't It Cool News period. You remember this time.
I remember it well.
They were just like letting shit rip. They were finding stuff out. They did not care. They were releasing drawings of what's his name? The guy who beat Anakin in the pod race, or tried to beat Anakin in pod race. That dude.
Oh, why am I?
Sebulba. Right. Releasing images of Sebulba, drawings of Sebulba, like they just let it all go. And I was following it all, and I was getting this very sinking feeling. Because I was like, some of this sounds dumb. C.O. Bibble, Sebulba. And I had to remind myself, now, John, remember, there's a main character in Star Wars called Chewbacca. That sounds dumb. And then we saw what happened. Once we saw the character, we forgot about the dumb name. So I was very excited to see the movie. My friend Adam Sachs was a magazine journalist at the time. got an extra ticket to a press screening before it was actually released at the AMC, or I think it was, the AMC Lowe's Theater before it was IMAX up on the Upper West Side. I went to it, joined him. I could not, I mean, you remember how electric it felt to go into the theater.
Oh, the build
And
up to that?
The build up to that, and to hear that theme for the first time again. It was like we were promised this a generation ago, and now it was happening. And I remember sitting on my right-hand side was my friend Adam, who got me into it. And on my left-hand side was an actor, and I think then also director named John Favreau. But this was 1999. Like, this was not Mandalorian. This was not Iron Man. He wasn't anywhere near these things. He had made Swingers. He had been on Friends. And then his career kind of was puttering along. And he was as happy to get into this thing as I was. Like, it was not like a superstar event. It was just like weird, crummy magazine writers. And John Favreau was there too. Happened to be sitting next to me. And we watched this movie, and it had its good points, but overall, there was this horrible feeling like, oh, this didn't turn out good. This went sideways. This is not, something doesn't work here. Like, I liked the double-sided lightsaber. That was good. There are parts of it that I liked. But for the most part, all of this incredible pent-up excitement got really squashed in that moment, because we're looking at something that obviously has stood the test of time. A whole generation loves these movies, and I'm not saying that they're bad, but for us, in that moment, there was this feeling of like, and maybe it was inevitable, there's this feeling of like, that's all there is to a fire. So we walked out of there.
So many years of expectation up to that point, right, of no material. There were no TV shows. There was nothing else feeding outside of the Thrawn books that had come out in the, in 1990.
Timothy Zahn wrote those books. Respect. Say the man's name.
Timothy Zahn. Yes, and is still writing Star Wars books.
Right.
And still writing Thrawn. But there was nothing. There was nothing for us. There weren't 15 Disney Plus shows. There weren't cartoons. There was nothing else. After Ewoks went off the air, we had nothing.
And to a degree, it was inevitable that it would be disappointing because A, nothing could really live up to those expectations, and B, it's a prequel. Like, it's setting up the story that we love, right? It's not a continuation of the story that we love. So in many ways, it was new material, but it wasn't new material because these characters had a predetermined fate that you knew where they were going. It's not like you could really root for little Anakin, even if you wanted to. Like, you knew that he was going to turn out to be who he was or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, we were all processing it, and like after the fact, it's not like John Favreau and I were hanging out after, but I went out with Adam and Aaron Gell, who was the other person who got us in, another magazine writer. And we were just like, oh, I don't know about that. I ended up feeling really bad about my experience of seeing the movie because I had been, and I'm sure that obviously all of the spoilers had also ruined it for me to some degree. Like, I knew every plot point of the film, so it's not like I could even be carried along. I ruined it for myself to a great degree, and I felt bad. And I decided I really, really, really needed to see the movie again, and I needed to enjoy it. And a few months later, now I don't do a lot of drugs, but in 1998 to 1999, a bunch of friends and I went up to southern Maine to hang out in our friend's dad's house. And we did MDMA, aka ecstasy, the rave drug. And it was a pretty intense experience. And I, having seen The Phantom Menace a little bit later, I realized that there was only one way I was going to be able to actually see this movie and enjoy it and complete the circuit of anticipation for it. And that was I had to be on drugs. So I called my friends who had been in Maine, who had the drugs, and I said, look, let's go see this movie again. I will pay for the drugs and let's take them. And we went to the Ziegfeld Theater, which was still a single screen movie palace in Midtown Manhattan. It's now an event space. They don't show movies there anymore. One of the greatest places to see a movie ever. It was the place that I had gone when I saw Independence Day on July the 4th, 1990 something. And the audience independently and spontaneously started singing the national anthem before the movie started. It was just one of those special theaters. And I took the drugs and I watched the movie. And I got to tell you, Ken, this is the greatest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. It was just so good. I felt so happy, and I've never seen it since.
What was your favorite part?
I have a memory, and it's funny because it's one of the dumbest parts of the movie. But when they're taking the submarine through the watery planet core of Naboo, I was like, "This is the greatest! I just love this. This is beautiful." And the truth is that, like, the movie, it's like walking through a series of beautiful rooms. From costuming to decor to set design. It's a beautiful movie. It's just narratively, it's a fucking train wreck. So if you were able to erase the expectation of story from your mind, as I was, and just enjoy it for its pageantry, boy, oh boy, did I enjoy it. It was terrific.
But I think that ultimately, George Lucas's strength is as an idea person and a world builder. Like, I think his thoughts on philosophy and what he wants to bring to things and characters and building that world. Script writing, not his strong suit. Dialogue, not his strong suit.
I don't think we're breaking any news here.
No,
yes,
not at all.
Right.
But yes, so those films, though, I think were the ultimate expression of all of the ideas he could bring to the table, and also showed the deficit of execution and storytelling that he had. So I think him with collaborators was at his best. Like what he was able to do with Clone Wars, with that series, with people like Filoni and all the writers on that series to create and execute his philosophies worked a lot better. And also, interestingly, made the prequels more coherent as a storytelling exercise by giving them the context that they needed. He just had a lot of ideas, too. I think he needed 10 more films to flesh out everything he was trying to throw up at the screen.
Yeah, it's cliche to point out that, like Gary Kurtz, his producer for the first two films, was a real collaborator insofar as he sort of took what George was offering and then pushed back and honed what was being shown on screen. And without, once the thing that was beautiful about Phantom Menace and all of them was, this was an artist who was working without any constraint. Like, it was an unfettered imagination. There, no one was telling him no.
Right.
And there's something beautiful about that. And I think that it's amazing that Attack of the Clones was able to take those characters and give them space to breathe and grow and be real and have stakes and tell stories in those characters. Like, it's all part of it's a very important part of the story now. But at the time, I just want to say that Jon Favreau and I were a little befuddled. And I don't know whether John. I mean, John.
Now I want to know if he had the same second viewing experience. If that was also his path to getting back to.
I don't know what drugs he took. I think he just, ate a lot of food truck food.
Just him and Peter Billingsley. Just what we got to do.
Yeah,
we got to go get some drugs, and we got to go.
I got to meet him some years later, and I told him I was there, and he said, "Oh yeah, cool, buddy." That was it. Anyway, John, if you're watching, put me in The Mandalorian or something.
I mean, everyone else is getting in there. So it seems like a
You have to
natural.
rub it in, Ken. You have to rub it in.
No, no,
Hey,
I'm saying
open one of your toys while I make myself a cocktail. I'll be right back.
I will do so. I'm going to open another prequel. We're going to open Shmi Skywalker.
Yeah. Who is? I can still hear you.
That is Anakin's mother.
Yeah.
We are
Who is
going
the
to
Danish actress who played her?
Who is the Danish actress that played her?
I think she's Danish.
She was
Maybe she'll
also
show up in our show in
the Young Indiana Jones adventures. She was also an actress in that.
You don't say.
So was C.O. Bibble.
You don't say. Pernilla August. Swedish. Sorry. So sorry, Sweden. Pernilla August. Okay, start opening that thing. I'll be back in 1 second.
I will do so. You got it at the same time, Mike. Let's open this. I really like these Jedi Force File cards as a great way to give additional information with these figures, which they don't really do. I mean, you basically get a 2-line, at most, bio on the back of cards now, if you even get that. But I don't think figures today are made for kids, sadly. I think they've pretty much given up on that and made it strictly an adult collectibles line, which I think is a darn shame. And I don't think it's sustainable. So you'll probably see the franchise go the same way as far as that's concerned, as like what happened with Indiana Jones. If you don't maintain it for generations beyond the ones that are aging and dying off, then you do not have an evergreen. I don't want to use the word IP. That's such a cold phrase. But
boy, Ken, you're really keeping it light here. Really keeping it light.
I'm trying to be real.
Fun.
I'm trying to be real here.
The reality is, and I'm thinking about this as you were talking about this, and I was on the other side of the room. We needed the action figures in order to recreate the movie.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? So I'm a little bit older than you. And it took a while for Star Wars to come out on video cassette. The action figures were a way for us to relive and think about the story that we saw. We couldn't just watch it anytime we wanted. And as a result, the action figures were a very important part of recreating the experience of seeing the movie and imagining other stories with these characters. Whereas now, I feel like, first of all, I'm not sure that any of the Disney Plus Star Wars TV shows are made for kids. I think they're made for stunted adults like us. But also, any child who is into Star Wars can experience any of the Star Wars at any time, like all of culture.
Yeah, these are not necessary to relive moments.
No, it was a way to preserve the feeling of seeing the movie.
And also, you have active memories of a time when you had a 2-year gap before any other Star Wars story came out on the big screen again.
I have active memories of when all of these movies appeared on daguerreotype. Okay, there's Shmi. That's nice sculpt. What is she holding?
It appears to be with a disconnected cord, like a device to operate some piece of machinery. Like it's got.
I feel like that's something that was used to open a garage door in Watto's.
Or like a lift, activating a lift for a.
Yeah, does it say anything in there?
Conveyor, gear, aero magnifier. Well, it's not that. Diagnostic screen. No, it's not the diagnostic screen.
If there's one thing I remember about the Phantom Menace, it was Shmi Skywalker's proficiency with the diagnostic screen. It was one of the greatest sequences of the
Do you
film.
remember the whole scene with the sand stat? Keeping sand out of one's dwelling is an almost impossible chore on Tatooine, but electrostatic sand stat helps keep things clean.
That's bad.
And yet we didn't get the sand stat. So I don't know how good a job she did considering how much Anakin hated sand. So it sounds like there was probably more of it in their dwelling than they're letting on. But
one thing that we can give the Phantom Menace credit for was introducing the concept to the Star Wars universe of human slavery and really dealing with the ramifications of that. That's sarcasm.
wanted to give you
/S, just to be clear. Like, there was no obligation to introduce the concept of human slavery.
No. And then
movie.
also the notion of just leaving Shmi behind in the chipper way that Anakin did. Bye, Mom.
Bye. Yeah, right. And then making Watto into kind of a funny, hilarious figure. Like, he's a person who deals in human trafficking.
and does not want to give them up.
All I'm saying is they should have give it to me or Jon Favreau to give it one read. That's all we were asking.
Is that what the conversation was after the? Listen.
No, there was no conversation after.
That.
But I did a This American Life story about my headcanon rewrite of the Phantom Menace that some people like. So that's just a plug for that. Since I'm not allowed to plug as a member of SAG-AFTRA and WGA, I can't plug my current projects, even if they weren't canceled.
I don't like to hear that.
Yeah, moving. Well, it's in the news.
I'm at the cancellation.
Give me one more. My
so
old
look at
pal,
this.
Bespin Guard.
Just happened to pull out of the bag.
Now, wait a minute. Really focus on that photo of that dude. Yeah, get that part right in there. I don't remember that guy at all.
I mean, but he looks he's having a day.
That doesn't look like any Bespin Guard I ever saw. I feel like that's bogus. I don't think he was ever in any scene from Empire Strikes Back.
I mean, they had to blow this photo up quite a bit.
I'm going to find the one, or an image of my
which one do you have?
Bespin
Because there were two different Bespin Guards in the original Kenner line.
My guy had a little... here, this is my guy. 1980. Condition nice. He had a really cool mustache. I'm not sure how to share
Is it
this with you.
Espinoza?
What are you talking about, Espinoza?
That's what I think. It's like Heldar Espinoza. What's the one of the guards?
He didn't have a name. It was just at this time. It was just Bespin Guard.
But he does have a name now. They've given everyone has a name in the Star Wars universe now.
Well, now I don't know how to. Oh, I have to share a. Can I?
Should be able to.
Can I share screen with you? Yeah. Here we go. You see that? Yes or no?
No, I didn't. Oh wait, hold on. There we go. I had to add it to the stream.
There we go. That's my guy.
Yeah,
that was my guy.
Heldar. Oh, I'm sorry. Heldar Spinoza is his name. HELDAR DER SPINOZA. Heldar Spinoza.
The first and maybe to date only Latin character in Star Wars. How about that?
I mean, the tailoring on the
outfit.
I
guess Oscar Isaac has some Venezuelan background. What's his Guatemalan? He was born in Guatemala.
And also Pedro Pascal.
Well, of course.
For as often as you actually see him in the show.
Right. And, Diego Luna, obviously. Andor himself.
But if we're speaking of the original trilogy of films, then yes, he was a very much a rarity.
But I don't think this dude ever was in Empire Strikes Back. This is some clear Espinosa erasure. Don't care for it.
I mean, not just that. Look up the other Bespin security guard. I mean, he erased 2 security guards to get his moment in this line. You'll see just how grievous what he's done is.
General Grievous? Bespin Security Card 2, date stamp 1981, is a black man.
Yes, so he erased.
Holy moly.
To have his moment.
Now I feel bad. I've never seen this guy before in my life. One of the few, I mean, obviously, Empire Strikes Back introduced black people to Star Wars.
So he's got some security cuffs. You know what? Maybe he was one of the Bespin guys that was escorting Chewbacca and Leia in that hallway in the background.
Well, I'm going to share another image with you. And you can put it in there if you want. And that's the card with the Corman Jane is on the back. He's the first Asian in Star Wars. I discussed in my first episode of Honest to Claude.
So is this
Corman Jane? I believe you if so. Well,
it's a good sculpt.
Shame on me, and good for Corman for being that person. This was the person that Bespin Security Guard 2, 1981. You buy him, you get a free 4-LOM. But I didn't know about this guy either. The Bespin was a pretty diverse place, it seems. And it seems to me like, has it been... I mean, forgive me if it's a big part of Clone Wars or Rebels or something, but like, did we ever go back to that city? Seems like a pretty fucking cool city.
I don't think we've ever been back on any of the shows or anything like that to Bespin.
To Cloud City on Bespin?
No.
I'd watch. I mean, I'd watch a whole series on Bespin. Like they could do The Wire, the Star Wars The Wire on Bespin.
Yeah, Lobot's still there. Let's hang out with Lobot.
Man, Lobot was my favorite. I still have my original Lobot. Oh, I take it back. I don't have my original Lobot, but the artist Marcel Dzama, whom you should follow if you're not following him, Marcel Dzama, Marcel Dzama, very, very talented artist, fine artist, good. I mean, he's really good at his job at art. Came to a show of mine in probably in 2006 or 7 and brought a Lobot along because I had mentioned him on the Daily Show. I had to fight hard to get Lobot mentioned on the Daily Show. People didn't know, Ken. People didn't know Lobot at that time.
But you made
Eric says Cloud City appears in The Revenge of the Sith briefly.
Oh, during the celebration sequences. No. Cloud City does appear at the end of Return of the Jedi again during the celebration sequences. That's one of when that montage during the Ewok celebration where they view the other special edition.
Special edition. After they had gotten rid of Yub Yub. I'll tell you something about Timothy Zahn. And then I want to show off some of my cards. I just never read any of the Timothy Zahn books. But I remember when I first saw Heir to the Empire. And it was probably in 1990 or 91. I was in college at Yale in New Haven, Connecticut. My part-time job was renting videos at Film Fest Video in New Haven. And from time to time, I had to go across the street to the food court at what was then the Chapel Square Mall to get me and my coworker Susan lunch. And on one of these errands, I stopped in the all but abandoned bookstore in the all but abandoned mall. And I saw 2 books. One was Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. And I had no idea. At this point, the idea of Star Wars coming back was hilariously implausible. It was completely forgotten. I remember having conversations with David Guion in college about like Star Wars was completely forgotten by our generation. About like, we should watch this old thing again. It's probably pretty good because everyone was all about Star Trek The Next Generation at that time. And here with Timothy Zahn sneaking in with this whole new storyline that would launch 1,000 books. The other book that I saw when I was, my memory is that there was no staff member in this bookstore. There was no one to sell the books. It was just me alone in a closed bookstore in a half-closed mall. But the other book that I saw was, I can't remember the name of it. It was Rush Limbaugh's first book. And it was something about I'm right and you're wrong or something like that. That guy was such an asshole. It just defined a moment for me that I'll never forget. That first time that I saw Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire and Rush Limbaugh's book. Oh, it was called The Way Things Ought to Be. Fucking jerk. I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh. It was long before he was I think he was still just kind of a regional broadcaster or an East Coast broadcaster. He wasn't national at that time. But I would listen to him because I had another part-time job counting traffic in New Haven. And I would borrow my roommate or my roommate Steve Zahn's Walkman. And after the batteries died enough that I couldn't listen to my Billy Bragg tapes anymore, I would just listen to New York talk radio, and Rush Limbaugh was on there. And I saw all of Fox News coming. It was a real eye-opener at that time. But the Heir to the Empire, that was where Thrawn was introduced, et cetera, et cetera. It's like I really saw something. Fast forward probably 8 years later, I'm at a lunch with some editors of, and I don't remember what publishing house published the Star Wars extended universe novels.
I think it was Ballantine.
I think it was Ballantine, yeah. And I'm with the guy who's in charge of those and a couple of his colleagues. And it was coming right up on the Phantom Menace because they were releasing the special editions, and all of a sudden they were planting clues for the fact that they were going to visit Coruscant, the central planet of the Empire. And what this guy revealed to me was that Timothy Zahn invented the concept of Coruscant, the whole planet city, which, by the way, is an ecological nightmare, not something anyone should ever be happy about. But when Anakin is traveling there, and that one Naboo pilot goes, "Look at that! It's Coruscant. The whole planet is one big city," and he's like saying it with like marvel in his eyes, and like, "No, that's terrible. That's the worst thing that ever happened." But the editor, Timothy Zahn's editor, was like, "Until that moment, we didn't know. We didn't know it was pronounced Coruscant. We all called it Coruscant because that's how Timothy Zahn pronounced it." And one day, George Lucas called us in a conference call and said, "No, it's called Coruscant." Look, I don't have a lot of behind the scenes to offer, but Timothy Zahn created this idea of this planet called Coruscant, and George Lucas is like, "No, I don't think so. I think it's called Coruscant."
I love how consistent George is with determining what the pronunciations of any of this should be, regardless of whether he created it or not. Like however his mind's eye reads it at the time, that now is canon, or was canon at the time.
Oh, well.
A little, a year later.
I wish I could be young again.
Well, speaking of young again, do you have something you were going to open?
Yes.
We can add that to the stream.
Can you? Do you have it? Oh, yeah, there it is. All right.
I do.
So, these are something that I've been hanging on to for a long time. I would probably say almost 10 years ago, discovered some Dark Crystal cards at the Brooklyn flea market. And I distributed those between 2013 and 2015. I thought I would never find any ever again. But Jesse Thorne, oh yeah, Eric points out Rick Ollier was the Naboo pilot. He was also Bravo leader. Thank you, Rick. Yes, David, you were saying it right in your head all those years ago. Coruscant. In any case, Jesse Thorne, my co-host of the John Hodgman podcast, available at MaximumFun.org, turned up a bunch more Dark Crystal cards, and I bought as many as I could. And I have 3 packs here that I bought from him, and I haven't really figured out when was the right time to open them. They're a little out of order here. Turn them around. There we go. And I'm going to open 2 tonight, and then the last one shall remain unopened until perhaps next time.
Now, when
I
you
also
mentioned
promised to
this,
Yeah.
I wanted to open something in solidarity with this. So I went hunting around. And the first thing that I found that I had was this,
Oh, wow.
which is a pack of
Jaws
Jaws 3D
3D.
cards with a 3D viewer inside and a stick of
Huh.
bubble gum. But I found it had already been opened.
Oh, no. Someone had taken the gum.
But it does have...
It does have the 3D viewer.
Which
I don't think there's any way
obviously
to
cannot
allow us. No,
do
there's
it.
no way to do it.
But, yes.
Unless you're able to set up that extra camera.
So I thought, okay, well, that's a fail, because I wanted to go through the bubblegum journey with you. I didn't want you to do that alone.
I've opened Dune trading cards that have bubblegum in them online before, and I've eaten the bubblegum. And of course, that's 1984. I'm not sure these Dark Crystal cards have gum in them. If they do, I'm going to eat some. But,
Well, I have found these that I have,
yeah.
which are unopened and do have the gum in them.
And Gremlins, when did that come out? 1985?
85, alongside... no, 84, alongside
84.
Temple of Doom and
Right.
Ghostbusters. The
84
summer
was
of,
Temple of Doom,
PG-13
Ghostbusters, Dune,
creation.
and Gremlins. Wow.
The need for PG-13.
Yeah.
So I will let you do yours, and regardless, someone is going to have a piece of gum tonight.
Well, it might be yours. So I will put it to you, Ken.
Which
A or B?
which of the packs is in the least good condition? If you were with your visual inspection,
They're all in very good condition. I mean, I don't know what to say. They're all.
then I think the one you're holding right now, because it's folded over a bit on the UPC, so it's
Okay.
not as pristine.
All right, I'm going to move this a little bit.
Now,
So
as
it
you've
says-
opened the other packs in the past, have you kept the cards and are assembling a set of these? Or have you just given the cards away as you've opened them?
I threw them into a fire where they belong.
Oh, jeez.
The Dark Crystal and character names are trademarks of Henson Associates, 1982, distributed by the Don Russ Company, Memphis, Tennessee, 38101, made and printed in the USA. Secret Galaxy asks, is there a card that John is hoping to pull? And my name is spelled John, but I think you're referring to me. I am always interested in anything dealing with Aughra. Right here, Aughra, this character, who for years I thought was voiced by Frank Oz, but was actually voiced by Billy Piper. Aughra was the keeper of the observatory that the Gelflings, Jen and Kira, had to visit in order to figure out what to do next. I don't remember.
But Augur was puppeteered by Frank Oz, so
Puppeteered by Frank Oz, and maybe did like
he did scratch track on set.
Scratch track, yeah.
Right.
But it was Billy Piper, who I think is the same actress who said "It's all for you, Damien" in The Omen. I'm not doing a very good job here. I'm just tearing.
So that's
Here we go. Bum 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 bum. Number 1 with a bullet. Aughra in the Chamber of Life. Having been captured by the Garthram and brought to the castle of the Dark Crystal, Aughra is taken to the Chamber of Life without her model of the Three Suns. She is of little use to the Skeksis. Oh, boom. Wait, there she is.
I mean, I think that's a great pull. We made a good choice.
That's a good pull. My memory of opening these cards in the past were that the still photos are pretty muddy.
So what was your theater going experience like for Dark Crystal?
I went to see it with my dad. I mean, I was 11. And I remember liking it, but also being scared by it and confused. It's not an easy thing to take in
No.
for anyone of any age, pretty much. But I grew in my appreciation of it. I think probably when I went to college and I met that guy I was talking about, Dave Guillaume and Jonathan Colton. And Colton in particular was a fan of the Dark Crystal. And every now and then, when we made this connection that we had seen this movie, we'd talk about how weird it was. And we would scream to each other, "The Shard!" Which is what the Skeksis would scream at each other.
I mean, this is, though, pretty much similar to Lucas. This was Henson conceiving of this world, these characters and this idea, and having the sort of freedom to go and explore and it not be quite as accessible, much like the prequels. Like this was sort of a something that could have used some other hands on it to maybe make it a bit more palatable. But it is full of ideas and a very memorable visual style that is unique to it and certainly could not have been done by anyone else.
Yeah.
That collaboration with Henson and Brian Froud and
right.
Yeah.
Can I open these cards now? I mean, you're not wrong.
Yes, you can continue to open the cards, John. With an H.
Conjunction. The crystal flashes and the high-pitched boom of thunder sounds. Jen is thrown from the crystal and falls through the dazzled air. That's pretty good writing, honestly.
I want to see how muddy the dazzled air is.
And runs over to Kira's lifeless body. Cradling her in his arms, he sobs with grief. Yeah, I mean, look at that. I mean, come on.
Also, writing these card backs is no small
grim
feat.
Shit. This is some grim shit that they were doing. And you see those mystics behind them walking over. You see the good counterparts of the Skeksis are the mystics. That's them walking over now. Hey, can you make this screen bigger, please?
I think I can make it. We can turn. Can I make it bigger?
Yeah, you can. Trust me.
Let me go to.
No, not you.
There we go.
There we go. Right. Boom.
But like I said, I do want to point out the writing on these card backs.
Yeah.
The writing on these card backs, that's a heck of a job to go and summarize a film in card form.
I would have taken this job in a second. Suddenly, a wall of the observatory crashes in through the gaping hole. Monstrous Garthram, armored warriors of destruction created by the Skeksis, swarm in. They smash aside benches of glassware chairs, bits of the model, anything in their path, and they head straight towards Jen. I've seen this card before, and it's a mess. You can't figure out anything that's happening there. Let's get rid of it. Garthram. The Skeksis made Garthram armored warriors of destruction to foil the ancient prophecy foretelling the end of Skeksis rule by Gelfling hand. The sole purpose of the Garthram is to destroy everything in their path. Yeah, look at those guys. These crab warriors. They are truly terrifying. Loved them. Jen is captured. Wending his way to the high hill, Jen is seized by giant hanging tendrils and is whisked off the ground. Suddenly the tendrils part and the most terrifying face Jen has ever seen gazes up at him. It's Aughra, Keepers of the Secrets. Do we see Aughra in this? No, it's just, look at this terrible photo.
It's like spaghetti? What
are you even trying to show me here? I really feel like Don Ross did not do a great job with this.
Is there a character in that?
I think that that's Jen's hand there at the tip of my thumb and his head.
Face completely obscured by his hair.
Yeah. They just threw a bunch of
This is
junk
what
at me.
happens when Topps doesn't get the license.
Right. Donruss is real cheap shit.
Didn't even
The
bother to put bubblegum.
Yeah, there's no bubblegum in this, by the way. Kira atop a Landstride. I'm sorry to let everyone down. The Landstriders are beasts of Swiss passage. For the Gelflings atop one of these gallant beasts, Kira with Fizzgig nestled down inside her pouch, clicks her tongue, and is carried at breakneck speed onward to the castle of Dark Crystal and her fate. So, it's a pretty good shot of Kira. You don't really get a sense of the Landstriders in here. Terrible photo. Terrible framing.
They're cropping all of these things very oddly.
Escaping the Garthram, fleeing the Pod Village, Jen and Phil, blah, 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 blah. And there they are. Escaping the Garthram.
I like the Skeksis is sort of looking to camera. Like he's looking into right into the lens.
Oh, yeah, that's the Chamberlain. He's spiking the lens. Because he was helping them at that time.
Completely unprofessional.
Should have been fired. My favorite character, though.
Oh, I hope this is a good card.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big promise. The eyes of the dying emperor suddenly open. His neck whips from the pillow, and his jaws, full of yellow teeth, snap like a trap an inch away from the Chamberlain, who is attempting to snatch the jeweled scepter from him. I'm going to look at this myself first.
Is it just the bed sheets?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, this is terrible framing. Like really, really bad framing, bad cropping. But it really gives you a hint of why this movie was not particularly accessible to humans. This is the dying emperor. Just truly some effed up S.
It looks like when Stripe at the end of Gremlins pops back out of the fountain.
Yeah.
All melty before he finally just dissolves into a pile of goo.
I don't know. I'm going to open up one more pack. And I'm just going to go through it quickly right now to see if there are any good ones. Because I feel like...
I want you, if possible, I would like you to open that third pack at some point during your overseas tour.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a good tease. Judge John Hodgman tour. Jen, Kira, and Fizzgig. Another Gelfling. Whoa. This one, holy moly. They didn't put these in an order.
Again, Donruss.
Donruss.
Is Donruss still a thing? Surely not.
The Skeksis Garthram Master. Augur and the Chamber of Life. We've already had this one. We just saw this one. Come on. The Great Conjunction. I feel like we saw this. Yeah, this is the same thing. We saw this already.
Yeah, but that's a classic still from the film.
Garthram Attack. We saw this one. This is
the
a
same
mess.
pack?
Garthram. We already saw this one. This is a different pack.
I'm not seeing anything different yet.
Jen is captured.
Again, we got the spaghetti.
All right, here's some different ones. Ken, Kira, and Fizzgig. It's a pretty good hero shot. Not terrible. Fizzgig is that little dog down there. Another Gelfling, Kira. Nice hero shot of Kira. The Skeksis Garthram Master. In the Battle of the Stone, the Garthram Master triumphs over the Chamberlain and is acclaimed the new emperor. The Ritual Master places a robe of satin over his shoulders and the crown on his head, then hands him the jeweled scepter. A lot of this movie is about royal succession.
Yeah.
Try to get that in focus for you. It's hard. It's hard to see what's happening.
I mean,
one of the most visually stunning movies, and they made this look like garbage.
Yeah, I mean, even if the color correction was a bit better on all that, it would have been the actual stills from the film.
Right. That's what I say about this.
Well,
actually,
yeah, I mean, oh no,
Yeah.
Is that now that hurts me.
It's been waiting.
You know what?
Waiting for 40 years to be torn up by me.
let's see if this reminds me. I was just talking to Jackson Public about a video that I had found in my archives from when we did a Red Nose Day Comic Relief 24-hour overnight fundraising thing when I would do that. This was probably 2008.
I remember those days.
And it was me to camera on the live stream, probably
Right.
Ustream at the time. It was, and then on the phone were you, Doc Hammer, and Jackson, and you, the three of you, goading me into tearing apart a Fraggle Rock VHS tape for
In
about 30
retrospect,
minutes.
that was cruel.
As I unspooled all of the tape from it after disassembling it, and the three of you just like jackals, just going after me, urging me on to destruction of this poor object. Fraggle
Very
Rock.
rude. Very rude.
Different time. We're gonna see if Topps does anything better than Don Russ did.
Pull the tape apart.
Which one, left or right? This one or
Right.
this one? So that one.
Yeah.
So we got, it says it's quality bazooka bubblegum in here.
Yeah, Topps was better. Don Russ was bullshit.
I'm going to open this carefully because there is gum rattling around in here, and I don't want that all over the place. Oh, I don't know if that's the brown edge is not encouraging. Ooh, and there's staining there as well.
Don't eat it, Ken. Don't eat it. You made no promises.
Okay.
You made no promises. You made
I'll
all of your apologies. You made your promises. I want you to live.
I'll save it for later.
Put it in water, see if it rehydrates.
It's stuck to the back. The rest of the gum.
Oh, there's more gum.
Is stuck to a card. Okay. So this is pictured on the front of this card is an artist's conception of Stripe, the monstrous leader of the Gremlins.
Artist's conception.
Look at how vibrant the colors are on
Artwork,
that.
evil, Stripe. Redundant. Just say Stripe.
So we don't have the title. You have the title of the next card, but not the title of this card. So I guess you have to look on the front for the title of what this card is.
Yeah.
And then continued on card number 70, Stripe's Final Moments. So if we flip this over.
Gizmo saves the day.
I mean, I'm
Very
already...
Barbie. Very Barbie, honestly. Very timely.
There's another Stripe card. So we're in the toy store, or the toy section at the end.
Who's that emo dude in the toy store? Is that Slenderman?
I think that's supposed to be
That's Zach.
Zach Galligan.
Yeah.
Along for the ride. So he's just Gizmo in a...
When was the last time you
Backpack?
watched Gremlins?
I watched it at Christmas. The holidays, as a holiday
And
watch.
how many times would that be for you? Like, how long was it before then?
Maybe about
is
3
it-
years prior to that.
I don't think I've seen it probably in 10 years.
Like,
Key Luke.
well, that's a
All right. Yeah. All right. let's move
unfortunate
along.
card.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
we got.
actor
I forgot the
is-
sticker cards.
Yeah. They always got the sticker, and the back was the,
They assembled the mural.
assembled a big poster or whatever. But I believe that actor was named Key Luke. I want to verify that.
So it's in front of the theater. Yeah. One of the Gremlins, not Stripe, popping out of the Christmas tree.
Key Luke.
He
Was
had
a
had a long
Chinese-American
Hollywood career, right?
film and television actor, and a founding member of the Screen Actors Guild, which is the guild that is on strike right now. He was known for playing Lee Chan, number one son in the Charlie Chan films. He was the original Kato in the 1939 to 1941 Green Hornet film serials. He was Brack in the 1960s Space Ghost cartoons, Master Po in the television series Kung Fu, and Mr. Wing in the Gremlins films. He was the first Chinese-American contract player signed by RKO, Universal Pictures, and MGM. and was the most prominent Asian actors of American cinema in the mid-20th century. Born in Guangzhou, China. Yeah, let's hear it for Key Luke.
I mean, that's
Did a lot of incredible good work. And a founder of the Screen Actors Guild, which is my union, which is currently on strike.
so. I'm not eating this, right? Is that what we're?
No, don't eat that. Don't do it, Ken. Don't do it.
It's the browning on the edges that really.
Why would you do it at this point? Everyone who's here is already here. They're not going to go away.
That wasn't. I'll open the other one. Should I open the? I should open
One
the
more
other.
pack, and then I must retire, and then I must away. I'm going to watch Gremlins tonight. I'm going to watch probably The Dark Crystal.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that
sticking.
gum. That's not looking good. But it's pretty amazing to think of this being opened for the first time in nearly 40 years.
Lynn's Big Risk.
Was
That
that
sounds like
Phoebe
a-
Cates or no?
That's the mother
Oh, okay.
who fights off the gremlins in the house after.
It was Phoebe
he leaves.
Cates, though, was the female lead in the film, right?
Yes,
Right.
blowing up the theater.
Yeah, great photo. Good job, Tops.
I mean,
Really
the colors are
tip-tops.
strong. Splash of water.
Splash of water.
Corey Feldman on that card.
Oh, right. I forgot he was in that.
The gremlins
The
are
Gremlins
inside.
are inside.
Introducing Gizmo. We got Hoyt Axton
Hoyt Axton. I forgot about that. Was
as
he a
oh
country
Peltzer,
music artist?
Mr. Peltzer. He was,
Yeah.
and quite a songwriter, I believe, as well on that scene. So that Nashville songwriting scene.
3D,
3D
comics.
comics.
Yuck. Some
make
real shade being thrown at the Jaws 3D cards.
The Captive Kate
Captive Kate.
in the bar when she's trying to bartend all the gremlins after they take over the bar.
I don't remember any of it.
The Peltzers and Kate. So this is an end of film. Nice little family
Right.
portrait. Braggart.
Chris-
Not often you see the word braggart on a.
Braggart Gerald Hopkins takes refuge behind bars as the gremlins continue their Christmas assault. Christopher James in the comments is trying to...
Oh, Judge Reinhold.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
He was the assistant manager at the bank.
Je ne me souviens pas.
Stripe's final moments.
Did Stripe bite it at the end of this film?
He did. In the. Well, I want to ruin
then-
it for you if you're going to go watch it afterwards.
Whatever.
Yes, he did. He did perish at the end of it.
Christopher in the chat says that Hoyt Axton sang the theme from Dukes of Hazzard.
He did not.
I don't think that's correct. I think that's
No.
Waylon Jennings.
That was
isn't it?
Waylon Jennings. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Christopher. Good try.
Who also wrote it. But Hoyt Axton, there is some famous song that he did write, though. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I don't think that even. Yeah, I'm not gonna try and make the gum go down. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I have one thing I was saving to open with you. If we can end with that, I'm gonna
He
clear these away.
co-wrote. Hang on. He co-wrote Heartbreak Hotel.
I mean, that's pretty big.
That's pretty big. He was born in Duncan, Oklahoma, and died in Victor, Montana, at the age of 61. Young. Oh, holy moly! He was the first cousin of David Boren, who was the governor of Oklahoma and the three-term senator from Oklahoma, and president of the University of Oklahoma, and the father of my classmate Carrie Boren at Yale University. My friend Carrie. That was the first time I had ever experienced like the weird feeling of like, oh, her father is a U.S. senator. This is messed up. Going to goddamn Yale University. What the hell? He was the father in the Black Stallion, And he also was on WKRP and Different Strokes.
So he
And he
didn't pass
sang
away
with,
then very long after
he passed away in
Gremlins. Then
1999, age of 61.
that seems very young.
So, he was in his mid 40s when Gremlins was filmed.
So
But he
how old
kind of
was he
looked
then when he
older.
co-wrote Heartbreak Hotel? Then, so he was just fresh.
So that was 1956. Wait a minute. Hang on. It was his mother who co-wrote Heartbreak Hotel. I
Okay.
misread it. May Boren Axton. That's why he was the first cousin of David Boren. Okay. Anyway,
So this is the final thing I'm going to open while we talk. I've been waiting to open this for a while. This weird goofball Jabba the Hutt that came out in 2002? 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And its weird sticky outy tongue was the choice of how to make this Jabba the Hutt. And so, and the artwork on the back of this thing.
Yeah.
This for me was a golden age of Star Wars figures of just.
So wait, when did this come out?
2004. So this would have been after Attack of the Clones, before Revenge of the Sith, in that sort of, again, holding year when nothing was being released, holding years.
Yeah. Remember those years when nothing was being released?
And then, people were like, oh, I wonder how Revenge of the Sith is going to wrap all this up. What are we going to see out of that? Oh, this thing also, again, big, massive hunk of plastic. KB Toys, $7.99.
In 2004.
Hasbro just announced a Jabba the Hutt figure that also comes with these throne pieces and a Salacious Crumb. $90 for this exact same scale of Jabba the Hutt figure.
What was KB charging in
$7.99.
All right.
I mean, that's got to be way out of line with inflation.
I'm looking it up right now. $13 in 2023 money.
So you're saying that they might be slightly overcharging based on.
I'm making no judgments whatsoever. I'm just giving you the data.
So you may have
What are
noticed.
you using to cut open these precious items?
So this
A
is just
scalpel?
a letter opener.
All right. Seems pretty sharp.
So I do not cut myself. So that's why I don't use a razor blade. But I do need something with a thin enough edge that I can work in underneath. I'm trying to preserve. I keep the card backs on these because the art, again, just having that still, I don't want to just toss something as weird and wonderful as that. Somebody will toss it eventually, John. It'll all eventually.
Speaking as someone who encouraged you to tear apart a Fraggle Rock VHS, maybe you don't want to listen to me, but I think you should get rid of those cards.
Well, I mean, you just placed the caveat at the beginning of that sentence as to where your heart lies when it comes to. I know. In recent years, you've done a bit of purging of stuff that you have accumulated over the years. And I'm sure.
But I enjoy watching you unpack these things.
Look at this card art there.
Yeah.
Put that on a
Look,
top
it's obviously a better photo than any photo in the Dark Crystal cards. But it's still just the bottom of a thing.
I mean, while I'm doing these twist ties, can you remind everyone about the tour you have coming up?
Yeah. I'll sing a little song about it. Just two good old boys, never meaning so harm, judging everyone on a podcast till the day they were born, making their way the only way they know how, going off to Europe for a tour and something that rhymes with now. Belfast, Northern Ireland, Dublin, Edinburgh, going down to the London Podcast Festival. Something rhymes with borough. Copenhagen is the capital of Denmark. Don't know if they have an audience there, but they are definitely going to Denmark. The one thing you know for sure is they're not traveling with a car with the Confederate flag on it. So anyway, yeah, Judge John Hodgman is going on tour. We are going to Belfast, Dublin, Edinburgh, London, and Copenhagen in September. And then starting in October and going into November, we will be in Lexington, Chicago, St. Paul, Madison, Wisconsin. We're going to be at the Fitzgerald Theater, by the way, in St. Paul, the former home of Live from Here, starring Chris Thiele. Then we're going down to Austin, Texas, at the Paramount Theater. And then we're going to Atlanta, Durham, North Carolina. I'm really working off of memory here. It's late at night where I am. Not as late as where you are, Llama, but it's pretty late where I am. Atlanta, Durham, Charlottesville, Washington, D.C., Portland, Maine, Boston, Massachusetts, and then Brooklyn, specifically Williamsburg, Brooklyn, at the Murmur Opera House, where we'll be having a wonderful live show and also recording it for a live streaming event that you will hear more about later.
Really? Not at the Bell House?
Well, I love the Bell House very deeply. It's my home, but the Bell House is a little too small for our show at this point. And I do not have the constitution to do 2 shows in a row the way I used to at the Bell House. So we're going to do one big show at the Murmur, and we're going to film it, and we're going to make it available as a live streaming event with behind the streams action and also opportunities to interact with us virtually, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's the Judge John Hodgman Tour. You can find all about it at MaximumFun.org/events. That's MaximumFun.org/events. And you can go there if you want to take a pause while Ken is installing the frog hookah. That's part of Jabba's disgusting platform. And what else can I say? Trying to think of anything else to plug that I can plug.
Well, I'm going to say, if
SAG-AFTRA and the WGA are on strike currently. And if you want to support us, go to Google WGA Strike Hub or SAG-AFTRAstrike.org. And you will find where there are picket lines going on in your town. If you're not in New York or Los Angeles, you might have a little difficulty finding picket lines, but the SAGAFTRAstrike.org website has strikes scheduled for most major cities, because there are, of course, actors all over the country. And if you were to come out and support us and picket, that would be wonderful. If that's not your thing, but you have the means to be supportive otherwise, you can go to entertainmentcommunity.org, and there is a strike relief fund that not only benefits SAG, AFTRA, and WGA members who are striking, but also all of the other crew members who are affected by this work stoppage, the IATSE members, the Teamsters, all of the people who have been wonderfully not crossing our picket lines, but aren't getting paid, as we are not, but also are not getting paid. If you have the means to throw a few dollars over there, that's going to help a lot of people who are helping us to hold the American Movie Producers and Television Producers Union, or labor organization, their feet to the fire and get a fair deal for SAG-AFTRA and WGA. All right, Ken, did you do it?
I did. Wonderful.
Look at that dum-dum. He looks like a cat. Like, sometimes cats fall asleep with their tongue sticking out. That's what he looks like.
Also,
Pop out tongue.
pop out tongue.
That's my favorite Star Wars character, by the way. Pop out tongue.
Boy, these action figures. So this is the second removable tongue action figure we've discussed this evening.
Yeah, Mas Amedda and Jabba the Hutt. We've seen 2 Jabba the Hutts, 2 pull-out tongues. This sounds like a Christmas song. 2 Jabba the Hutts, 2 pull-out tongues, 1 Mas Amedda,
And I will say
1 Amidala,
1 Efantman.
4 Ewoks dressed as Efantman in a robe.
I get Bespin
And a Bespin guard no one recognizes. All right. Llama is pulling out of this chat. That means I have to as well. If Llama's going, I'm going.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to reiterate, for anyone who has never seen Judge John Hodgman live, it is a very enjoyable
that's very kind.
evening of entertainment. You and Jesse are great. The cases that you pick and interact with are great. So if it's coming to your town or near your town, please go venture to it if you feel comfortable doing so. I have not traveled more than an hour away from home in the past couple of years.
Understandable. So, perfectly reasonable. And if it's not your thing, you should check out the streaming show. We will have details for that coming up. And if you are in one of the cities that we're visiting and you have a dispute that you'd like us to hear, please let us know. MaximumFun.org/JJHO. That's MaximumFun.org/JJHO. That's where you can submit your disputes for Judge John Hodgman, whether or not you live in any of the cities we're coming to do our shows in. But if you are in those cities, we'd love to hear your disputes. And also, Ken, I am not allowed to promote entertainment at the moment. But you know what I've been up to, and you know what Jackson Public has been up to. And you know how proud I am to be a part of anything that Jackson and Doc Hammer have been up to. So you can say something about that, but I can't.
If you have the ability to do so, you are a fan of a show called The Venture Brothers and have been dismayed at the announcement a few years ago that there would be no season 8 and perhaps feared you would never see that show again, there is a feature-length special currently available to you on Blu-ray, on streaming. If you want to rent it, it is not currently available on free to stream yet. That'll be in a couple of months. But if you want to pick up a Blu-ray that also not only has the special, it has the usual...
Ken, plug this thing. Don't worry about the vine you're trying to balance on Jabba
I am plugging it.
Hindquarters.
It's supposed to go somewhere.
Just concentrate on the one thing. Concentrate.
Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart is the name of the special. The Blu-ray contains bonus features, a feature-length commentary with Doc and Jackson, during which they don't talk about the film at all. So it's everything you love about a commentary from them, plus a 1-hour special edition of the Hodgman Talk Show that features John Hodgman interviewing Doc and Jackson using questions that the fans have submitted and having a wonderful conversation. I believe filmed in a studio that also serviced some news programs when they weren't recording, but they entertained the 5 or 6 folks that were there for the recording, and they will entertain you because it is a wonderful conversation. It is everything, and I will say, because we can talk about adjacent to something like that. Uh, John, I have always believed that you should be hosting a talk show and having conversation, not just a conversation show, I will say. This was a proof of concept above and beyond previous proof of concepts you may or may not have done in the past that shows every bit why you should be doing this and having conversations like that with folks. And I hope that someone views it or that you view it and decide to pursue it because is a great entertaining piece. And it has shown once again what no, you're going to listen to these compliments and I'm going to finish these compliments because you are a brilliant person whose evolution and career, and I've mentioned this numerous times in the past, has endlessly fascinated me over the years, how you have reinvented yourself numerous times. And you are just brilliant and personable and just a wonderful entertainer in so many different modes, be it musical, maybe something else you can't talk about, but people should go check out. You were in a musical this year. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful performer and person. And I'm glad to know you and to see all the things that you do and have done over the years.
Well, that's very kind, Ken, and I appreciate that. And I've always appreciated you and your support and your imagination and all of the things that your passion for talking about and thinking about the things that you love. I'm very grateful to be part of those things. One of the things that you're also a very incredible interviewer, and I look forward to reviving our bit of a chat sooner rather than later. One of the things that I learned long ago from Dick Cavett, of all people, about being a host of a conversation is to listen. And I remember Dick Cavett saying to me, like, listen to what the person is saying, make it a conversation, not an interview, and don't worry so much about putting the fucking vine on fucking Jabba the Hutt's tail.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't find the hole in the hookah. I looked for the hole in the hookah where it's supposed to...
Sometimes the hole in the hookah doesn't matter, Ken.
The hole in the hookah is like the hole in my heart, John.
I couldn't help it, but I love you, Ken, and I look forward to visiting with you on Force 5 again. Thank you for being for letting me be a part of this, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for doing it, and goodbye, everybody. Be sure to hit like, subscribe. There's the Amazon links, all that stuff, information, the tip jar, Patreon, anything you might want to do.
Don't hit it. Smash that like. Smash that subscribe. Smash the tipping and Amazon wish list. Do it all. Ken Plume, everybody.
Thank you very much. And
all right.
Keep an eye out for Doc and Jackson coming up in the near future.
Future.
Bye, everybody. We wave until it ends. Bye.